Okay. Well, let's start. Well, thank you for joining. As you know, we're GemFind Web Design. We are here for more than 20 years helping jewelers to find the right audience to drive sales through their jewelry stores. And the topic we're gonna talk today is Google Analytics 4. We know Google Analytics, the universal analytics tracking, let's call it the old version, it's going to sunset on July 1st. So having all your data migrated into Google Analytics 4 is imperative to do in these next 35 days. So going over this, I'm going to go through a couple of different slides where we're going to show you basically what we're going to cover, which is the old Google Analytics against the new one, the setup, how the data layer work, the tag manager, events, and conversions. This is a very broad topic, so we understand it's complex. If you have any question at any time, don't hesitate. Let us know, raise your hand. We can answer questions right on the spot, and we can also do it at the end. I'm gonna share my screen in just 1 minute. Wait 1 second. Perfect. So as you know, we're going to talk about Google Analytics and how this new Google Analytics 4 will impact your store. Right now, as you know, we're GemFind Digital Solutions. We're here to help you drive the right audience and to have the right solution on your website, on your jewelry store. And as I mentioned before, we've been here for over 20 years, and we specialize on profit. What really works, we already have a few formulas nailed down that will help you generate more leads. Now we're going to talk about Google Analytics 4 versus the old version. As you know, the old version is based on a data model, which it tracks more interactions and sessions, let's say page views and events, and some of these metrics that are associated with it, which is bounce rate and session duration. When we migrate to Google Analytics 4, you're going to see a different dashboard with multiple different pinpoints of data that are based on an event-based rather than data model. What does that means? That Google want to track the behavior, the success, the experience the user is having, not just on the first interaction, but within their whole shopping journey. As you know, the engagement ring process takes from 3 to 6 months. So Google want to understand how many interactions it takes for a user to complete the whole shopping journey. The second step is the tracking methodology. The all universal analytics, the tracking is based on cookies, and it's done via a JavaScript. Whether on the Google Analytics 4, they're using a combination of GTag, the JavaScript, and a very expanded set of identifiers that connects with the cookies. So there's more data to track, to take decisions that you can utilize to your benefits. And we can talk about this later on this webinar. Now, on the cross-device and user journey tracking, this means, let's say you have multiple websites. Maybe your store is located on a different domain. So on the Google Analytics, the old version, there was a limited tracking capabilities, and I can give you a couple of examples. Let's say your domain is gemsandjewels.com, and your store is located on store.gemsandjewels.com. When the users interact between both websites, the acquisition channels get impacted by the source where this user is coming from. Maybe they're coming from organic, and then they go to the store, and on the store will come as a referral. And then when they come back to the original website, they're going to come back as referral as well. So there was a lot of restrictions between browsers as well. Now on the new Google Analytics 4, you have a more in-depth enhanced data that you can track and utilize by user. You are gonna able to see how they interact between even devices, how a user goes on their desktop during the day, but they keep searching on their mobile phone during the night. So all this data is gonna be able to track Google Analytics 4. Now on the reporting and analysis, as we mentioned before, the universal analytics have very good reporting and analysis, but the Google Analytics 4, it goes into exploration and analysis, even powered by artificial intelligence. So they're able to give you a forecast, to predict metrics with a very more robust machine learning capabilities. So they've been working on this. Google has been developing this tool for several years right now. So they're ready to launch. On data control and privacy, because there's different countries that has different restrictions. So on the old Google Universal Analytics, there was some segmentations that you can use through integrations and Google products, but with Google Analytics 4, again, is streamlined on reporting and helping you to reach the right audience that you are able to target. And this goes for the UK, Canada, even California. So right now we're gonna go through the setup, because we know this is a very complex matter. And if you have any questions before I walk you through how this gets set up, please let me know. Because I'm gonna share my screen right now. Okay. I have this website here where you're seeing our Shopify store. Let's call it Gems and Jewels. Right now, I already created a web stream, but there's no data that has come in the past. So previously to this meeting, I I also added Google Tag Manager to that specific store. So I'm going to show you how you can and you should integrate your Google Analytics 4 with your Shopify store using Google Tag Manager. Now, the difference between Google Analytics 4 and the new G4 is that, first of all, we don't have the UA ID anymore. We have a G, and you can see this G ID coming even from your two-factor authentication. When you receive a message from Google, they give you this type of ID. So they can use it for multiple events. Now, the idea is to be able to insert this ID into my website. How are we going to do that? To be able to do this, we're going to interact with Google Tag Manager, which I previously added into my website. Google Tag Manager is a tool that helps to modify the data layer. and we're gonna talk about this in more depth. But it really triggers the variables that Google can use on the back end. As I mentioned on the first sliders, Google Analytics, the old version, it was based on events, which is page views, bounce rates, pages per session, average duration. But for a jewelry store, we want to understand how many people are adding a product to the cart, how many people are going to check out, how many people are requesting more information, how many people are calling or sending an email. And that is based on more enhanced Google Analytics tracking, which G4 is what is here for. Now, what we need to do is we need to trigger the definitions and the rules that we want Google Tag Manager to send Google Analytics when someone clicks on a button, for example, or a form submission or a custom event. And I'm going to walk you through this. The first step is going to go through my Google Analytics, and we're going to go through my Google Tag Manager. We're going to call this tag. This is going to be my Google configuration. I'm going to set it up to all my pages. And now what I can do is I can grab my domain. Second. I can grab my domain and I can preview my version of Google Analytics. One second. Okay. So it launches. So we're going to retry to connect now that we have access. There you go. Now Google is going to tell us your tag manager is now connected to your website. And how we're going to know, because here on the summary, we have a tag that fired, and that tag firing is my Google Analytics G tag that we just added. So we know it's already there. Now, what we want to understand is how the data is going to pass through my data layer. Right now, there's a little bit of a delay. We know it is working because we're already there, but it takes about a couple of minutes for Google Analytics to collect the data to understand we're already there. Give me 1 second. Okay. As you can see, Google can see I'm already here. This is the website that is triggering. So there's already a user in this page. Now, when Google starts to track what this user is doing, we can see different dashboards in the reporting. Now we can see if this was the first interaction with the user, what type of audience he's coming from, what page they're looking at, what screen, what property, the event they're sending, and how many events per user. So right now, Google detects that this is the first visit I had, and I just watched one page, and I click on start the session. Give me 1 second, because this is coming from my other, give me 1 second, here, it's coming from here. Now, every single action a user take within Google Analytics on your website, it is recorded on, it is not recorded unless you tell Google what you want to record. Google is going to pass clicks, is going to pass how many pages you view. But if you don't tell Google what a click means, Google is just going to tell you click, they click, right? So we want to know what they're clicking at, but we want to understand what exactly they're looking at. And we want to make an event, which is our next slide. Now, the events are user interactions that a user can take in your website. Let's say someone go to your website and they click add to cart. They just took an action that was an event. They click add to cart. Now, the only down thing here is if we go to our Google Analytics and we refresh, Google understand that that add to cart it's coming as a form, and Google understand that I'm coming from the book mode page I'm looking at. So all this data that I'm clicking on the other page, it's passing here. So we want to be able to know that this click or this form means add to cart. Other than that, Google just know that someone started a click. So what we want to know and we want to do is we want to give those events a name. And how do we do that? Well, we need to utilize the data layer to modify the data that Google Analytics needs to understand from your website. The way to do this, the only way, is through Tag Manager. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go and we're gonna create an event name that is gonna be called add to cart. Once we do this, we select the event name and we tell Google, please use my Google Analytics 4 to create a name called add to cart. When this is gonna trigger, that's where the complex part start to come here. So we need to create a trigger. What's a trigger? That trigger is the click that is gonna tell Google Analytics that someone clicked in your website. So we're gonna tell this click, this trigger is gonna be add to cart. And we're gonna look for our elements. What's an element? If we go back to our website and we go back to our product, you might need some experience reading some of this content. But right now, what we can do is we can click on the development tools from Google Chrome, select that specific module, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and check the class. On the class, I'm gonna copy the class. Let's say it's add to cart. I'm gonna copy the class. Now that I know that on the back end, all these numbers and letters means that add to cart button. Now I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna tell Google Tag Manager, from all these clicks, I want you to select only my classes that contains my code. Once we reach this path, we tell Google, okay, let's see if it's true that you're following my rules. So we go back to our previous content, which is this other page here, and it sends us back to homepage. We're gonna go like any other user. We're gonna find the product, and then we're gonna go and click the not wish list, add to cart. Now that I click on add to cart, I can go back to my original Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, and understand that my tag add to cart, is it firing? Is it not firing? And why not? Because I already clicked, and you can see all these clicks here, but my tag didn't fire. So I want to understand why. So we start to play around like Sherlock Holmes to understand what data is passing through that specific button. So it looks like it's passing this data here. Click class, it's saying it's a button text. So we need to go back and forth, creating and optimizing that specific tag. It's not an easy way to do it because every single thing, every single website is different. So the only way to accomplish this is by knowing what you're doing a little bit and by tracking back and forth every single piece of code and option you have to trigger. Because right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to find a way Google want to understand how the code triggers from the website. And I have to go back to my website, maybe back to my cart. I click here and I click add to cart. Let's go back here. Hopefully now we have something. Let's try again this one here. Let's try that one there. Let's preview it again. As you see, it's a complex matter. So while I keep doing all of this clicking around, all this data gets collected here. So even if it's attesting what we're doing, Google collects all the data. And yes, this class is going to be emailed to you. So no worries. We got you covered. We know this is a complex matter, so we want everyone to understand what this is. Anyhow, I'm gonna share my slides while we go through this and I try to fix it. As you see, it is a little bit complex to finish the setup, and it takes time to accomplish it. So right now, let's go through the data layer while that delay goes through. So as you know, as I talked before, the data layer works different than Google Analytics 4. So the new data layer works based on data collection. And this is designed to capture every single interaction and events that a user is taking, even if someone is scrolled through the screen. And I can show you that example right here. If someone goes through the page that I was looking at and I scroll to the pages, you will see some events going on for scrolling. So you might see within all this what the user is doing, the user engagement, for example. So all the data is going to be available in the Google Analytics 4. You can even target JavaScript objects, which are implemented through, again, Google Tag Manager and your web code. So you will need someone that really knows how your website interacts on the back end. So it's not like an easy task as you can see. Now, as you can also know, the data layer can be customized based on multiple things. So it depends on what you really want to track. But otherwise, Google is going to refer you to multiple dashboards that they know you're going to have success tracking your customers. And again, this is event data driven. So you need to create the KPIs you want to track, whether it's how many form submissions you have, how many emails you're receiving, how many phone calls, how many people are adding products to the cart. So there's going to be multiple funnel conversions, being someone contacting you directly to buy. That's the bottom of the funnel conversion, like right off the bat. You should contact them. Now, on the other hand, if there's someone who's subscribing to your newsletter, for example, you do want to know how many event-driven conversions and events you have through that specific action, because in a digital marketing world, even if they're only here for information now, you want to segment them into this funnel. Top of the funnel being the customer, they don't know nothing about the product, they want information. So you drive them through your funnel, being the bottom of the funnel, where you want them to have those conversations about going to your website. Now, the next step about the data layer is the enhanced tracking metrics. As we just discussed, there's multiple metrics for e-commerce, like the ones we just discussed: add to cart, e-commerce, how many people go to checkout, how many people really complete the checkout. So you need to have all these set up. In this world 2023, in 30 days, it's going to come to a sunset your old Google Analytics that didn't have these capabilities. So you do want to be able to track it. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of raw data just coming through your Google Analytics, like I show you, like this. It's just going to come like this. And if you don't have it set up properly, it's going to be very easy to get confused. Why? Because Google Analytics 4 tracks the sessions of the users in a different way. So you're going to have different issues trying to track the right data if you don't set up your right properties. So you want to understand how many sessions you're getting, how many users, how many people are really interacting. And because I just set up this one, there might not be a lot of data. But I can show you one of our Google Analytics for our company later on, just for you guys to see how it really should look in. Now, if we go back to our slides, Tag Manager. Again, we were talking about Tag Manager, and you will need some experience in Tag Manager if you want to be able to modify the data layer. Now, there's some Google documentation on Tag Manager that you can read. And basically what tag manager is a middleman per se between your website, what people are doing in your website, and your Google Analytics, because this is the only tool available that can modify your data layer through Google Analytics. So this is very important for you to have. So if you don't have a Google Tag Manager account, if you don't have a Google Analytics 4 set up right now, it is very important for you to do it in the next 35 days. Otherwise, your data is going to go missing and you're not going to be able to migrate it. Now, let's go to the next slide, which is what triggers and variables are. So Google Tag Manager uses triggers and variables to determine when and where the tag should be fired. As I showed you a good example before, we want to understand that my tags trigger when I need them to trigger. So if someone is clicking on the add to cart button, I really need to understand that they're clicking on it. So it takes time and some knowledge, some basic knowledge, to be honest, to get away with it if you want to set this up. But to be honest, if you have more time to go in depth and learn it, that's going to help you in the future to understand how the data flows in your website. Not needed, we're here for it, but it is important to have it if you don't. Now, you need, again, to set up the container as I show you. So this, I set up the container before the meeting because it takes several steps to do. You need to go to the back end of your website to be able to put the code in your website. So it takes time. Now, any questions so far? If you have any question, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Let's keep continue. Events and conversions. Now, the events in the new Google Analytics 4 are based on user interactions or the actions, again, that users are taking within your website. Now, when you set these properties right, the amount of data and decisions you can take based on what people are doing in your website, it's going to help you to find the right audience. Why? Because it might help you to understand the age, the demographics. It might help you to know how, if they're shoppers, if they're clicking around. So you create lists to understand these users are taking these actions in my website, so you can retarget them with a different message, for example. So all this data, it's collected in automatic by Google Analytics 4 events, as I mentioned before, from page views to scrolls to video engagements. If someone download a file, if they're going to a different website and then coming back. But if you don't set this right, the data might come raw, as I show you on the first setup. Now, the enhanced events that you can track through Google Analytics 4, those are gonna help you to segment your traffic the right way, if depending on what efforts you're doing. Maybe you have a PDF for engagement rings, how to find the right engagement ring, and they need to download that file, or you have a video in your website. So all these events, you'll need to enable or disable or modify based on what you really need. So it is customizable. We really recommend that you add again the shopping journey, add to cart, checkout, purchase. Those are shopping journey call to actions. You will need them to understand what's going on in the back end of your website. Otherwise, it's like driving blind. If you want to take decisions on, let's understand what products are being sold, what people are really going after. So this can help you to understand much easier what people are doing through your website. And obviously, you can create custom events if you have different call to actions. Maybe you have a video that make your products to do a 360. So it depends on what really you are looking to see based on what you have in your website. We really understand that every single website is different. So that's why Google Analytics can help you customize this data. Conversions. Now, Google has a different value for conversions. And when I say value, is a property. Why? Because Google Analytics 4 is going to pass the events to your reports, but you need to create the conversions based on these events. Now, Google is going to give you, again, a default set of actions like purchase, sign up, forms, newsletters within your website, but you can modify this based on your needs. Now, if we go back to our Google Analytics 4, here, you're gonna see a conversions tab here, and you can see that there's so many events here, but there's no conversions available. Why? Because we haven't set them up. So there's a whole library you can go through, but ideally you want to go through your events or your conversions, and based on today's data, for example, there's no data, but we can create an event. And when we do this, we can say, track everyone who's adding a product to the cart, right? Purchase. But all of this, again, is connected to the backend of your website, to your Google Tag Manager and your Google Analytics. So you're gonna need some knowledge on both Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager to be able to go back and forth between both two, as it takes time to build out. Any questions so far? Okay, because we have come to the questions, almost to the end. Please don't hesitate. Let me know if you have any questions. I know it's a complex matter, so if you have any specific questions, we can even go through maybe a live scenario and see if that answers your questions. As you know, JCK is coming next week. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be in JCK. So if you have any specific question that you want to go take a look, talk to us. We're going to be there. A whole team of experts is going to go down Vegas, and we're going to be there to help you find the right solution for your jewelry store. Yes, Tamara. You can reach out to our support team, and we can help you. I know it's a very overwhelming. It's a very overwhelming. Now, remember, Google Analytics 4 is coming July 1st. The old Google Analytics is gonna die. We're having different situations because we know Google Analytics 4 has been there for so long, and some people don't remember where the original account was created from. So having administration access to your own Google Analytics is it's imperative as a jewelry store owner. You need to have access to your Google Analytics to be able to manage who can see your data. Privacy. Okay. If we don't have more questions, we can wait a couple of extra minutes, see if anything comes through. Yes, that will be included with your website. We're gonna set this up for you for your development website. That's included, and I'm actually who's gonna take care of it. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to help. I'm a data guy, so I love Google Analytics. I'm a data-driven person, and I've been here at GemFind for several years so far. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to Anthony, to Alex. They're always here. Shopify for e-commerce, yes, it has a more in-depth capabilities for you to track data, for you to do digital marketing in a more efficient way. Why? Because it is an e-commerce platform. So you can have a dashboard or sorry, a workflow for people who adds product to your cart and they leave. I mean, you need to be doing that already, but Shopify will help you through multiple applications or integrations to accomplish that. So it's a very good e-commerce platform. We know there's so many out there, but right now Shopify is just taking over. The whole customer interaction, UX UI from Shopify is much better, much cleaner. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, well, let's see. You're welcome. If there's no more questions, again, we're gonna be down at JCK. Please visit us. We're gonna be there. We can talk about this fun stuff and more. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Don't hesitate. Reach out to us if you have any questions in these next 30 days that you have to migrate your data from Google Analytics to Google Analytics 4. Well, have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us, and see you next time.